Inside you right now, a silent army waits. Trillions of microscopic workers stand ready in every cell of your body, programmed for a task most people will never witness. They exist not to build or grow, but to dismantle and recycle, to consume the damaged, the broken, the unnecessary. This process has a name that sounds almost violent: autophagy. Literally, self-eating. Your cells devour themselves to survive. It sounds like destruction, but it's the opposite. It's renewal. A molecular cleanup crew that's been standing by since the moment you were born, waiting for the signal to begin. But here's the mystery. Most people never truly activate it. They live entire lifetimes without ever allowing their cells to perform this ancient ritual of repair. Not because they can't, but because they never stop eating long enough to let it happen. Breakfast at 7, snack at 10, lunch at noon, another snack at 3, dinner at 6, maybe dessert at 8. The body is constantly fed, constantly building, constantly storing, and in that endless cycle of consumption, the cleanup crew remains idle, their tools untouched, their purpose unfulfilled. Our ancestors knew this rhythm differently, not by choice, but by necessity. They hunted and failed. They gathered and found nothing. They endured stretches of emptiness that forced their bodies into survival mode, into a state where cells had no choice but to look inward, to recycle their own damaged parts for fuel and repair. Evolution didn't design autophagy as a luxury. It designed it as a lifeline, a way to survive when the outside world offered nothing. That same mechanism still lives inside you, encoded in your DNA, dormant but never gone. So when people ask how long it takes to trigger autophagy, they're really asking something deeper. They're asking, how long must I wait before my body remembers what it was built to do? The answer isn't simple, because your body doesn't operate on a timer. It operates on signals, hormonal whispers, metabolic shifts, energy calculations happening in real time, every second, in every cell. The journey to autophagy isn't measured in hours alone. It's measured in the body's decision to stop searching outside and start searching within. The journey to autophagy doesn't begin when you feel hungry. It begins when insulin finally goes silent. Imagine insulin as a bodyguard standing at the gates of your cells, constantly shouting orders. Store this, build that, grow, expand, prepare for more. As long as insulin is active, autophagy remains locked away, forbidden from starting its work. The cleanup crew can't enter while construction is still underway. So the first hours after your last meal aren't about autophagy at all. They're about waiting for the guard to step aside. In the first 4 hours, your body is still riding the wave of your last meal. Glucose floods your bloodstream. Insulin rises to meet it, ushering sugar into cells, converting excess into glycogen, storing what remains as fat. Your stomach may be empty, but your cells are still full, energized, satisfied. During this window, autophagy doesn't even flicker. The body sees no reason to recycle when fresh fuel is abundant. You might feel fine, maybe even energized, unaware that deep inside, nothing has shifted yet. The biological status quo remains unchanged. Between hours 4 and 8, something subtle begins. Insulin starts to decline. Blood sugar stabilizes. The body turns its attention to glycogen, those stored glucose reserves tucked away in your liver and muscles. It's like switching from fresh groceries to the pantry. You're still eating, metabolically speaking, just from internal stock rather than external input. Hunger may start to whisper now, a gentle reminder that the usual feeding time has passed. But your cells? They're calm. Glycogen provides plenty of energy. There's no crisis, no urgency. Autophagy remains dormant, still waiting for a stronger signal. By hours 8 to 12, glycogen reserves begin to thin. The liver starts shifting strategies, breaking down fatty acids, preparing for a longer stretch without food. Some cellular cleanup begins in liver and muscle cells, minor housekeeping tasks. But this isn't true autophagy yet. It's just the body tidying up, sweeping the floors while the real renovation waits in the wings. You might feel sharper now, strangely focused, as if hunger has clarified your thoughts rather than clouded them. This is the body's ancient programming kicking in. When food was scarce, survival demanded alertness, not weakness. But this is just the warm-up. The real transformation begins when the body makes a choice. Between hour 12 and 18, something shifts. The body stops searching for food and starts searching itself. This is the threshold moment, the invisible line where survival instincts take over. Glycogen stores have nearly vanished. Blood sugar remains low, but stable. And deep within your cells, a molecular switch flips. A protein called mTOR, which has been commanding your cells to grow and build, finally goes quiet. When mTOR silences, it's like a construction foreman walking off the job site. Only then can the cleanup crew step forward. Another protein, AMPK, wakes up in response. Think of AMPK as an energy crisis sensor, constantly monitoring your cellular fuel levels. When it detects that reserves are running low, it sounds an alarm. Not a panic, but a calm directive. We need to conserve, recycle, adapt. AMPK activates autophagy by sending signals to genes that produce the machinery needed for cellular self-eating. Suddenly, throughout your body, cells begin producing tiny structures called autophagosomes, microscopic bubbles that will engulf damaged proteins, worn-out organelles, and cellular debris. The renovation has officially begun. But here's where the timeline becomes personal. Not everyone crosses this threshold at the same moment. An athlete with excellent metabolic health might trigger autophagy closer to hour 12. Their bodies are practiced at switching between fuel sources, flexible and efficient. Someone who's been eating high-carb meals for years, whose insulin remains elevated longer, might not reach this point until hour 16 or even 18. Their bodies are rusty at the metabolic switch, slower to adapt, hesitant to let go of sugar-burning mode. The body remembers your habits. If you've trained it to expect constant food, it will resist the shift. If you've fasted before, it recognizes the pattern and adapts faster. Interestingly, different tissues enter autophagy at different speeds. Your liver and muscle cells tend to start first, somewhere between hours 12 and 16. These are the organs most involved in energy storage and use, so they respond quickly to fuel depletion. Brain cells take longer, often not entering significant autophagy until hour 18 or beyond. Fat cells may barely participate at all during short fasts. The body is not a single unit, but a collection of systems, each operating on its own timeline, each listening for its own signals. But here's what science doesn't tell you in simple terms. Autophagy isn't an on-off switch. It's a dial, slowly turning up as the hours pass. By hour 24, your cells are performing surgery on themselves. No anesthesia, no scalpels, just molecular precision. Autophagy has moved beyond its early stages and entered what researchers call peak activity. Throughout your body, in tissues from your brain to your muscles to your heart, cells are dismantling their own damaged components with ruthless efficiency. Misfolded proteins that could trigger disease are being broken down into amino acids. Mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, are being stripped for parts when they malfunction. Even invading bacteria and viruses can be captured and digested by this process. It's a full-scale renovation happening in trillions of rooms simultaneously. This is the state that earned Yoshinori Ohsumi the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 2016. He discovered the genes that control autophagy, revealing how cells orchestrate this intricate self-cleaning process. What seemed like cellular destruction turned out to be cellular wisdom, a way for the body to recycle its own materials, turning trash into treasure, converting damage into fuel. In this phase, your cells aren't just surviving. They're optimizing, becoming more efficient versions of themselves, shedding what no longer serves them. Between hours 24 and 36, autophagy intensifies further. The dial keeps turning up. Damaged organelles that have lingered for months or years finally get tagged for removal. Clumps of waste proteins dissolve. Even the tangles associated with neurological diseases begin to clear, though slowly. Your body is spring cleaning at a depth most modern humans never experience. This isn't about weight loss or muscle preservation anymore. This is about longevity, about giving your cells the space and time to repair what daily life constantly damages. By hour 36 to 48, you've entered a state rare in modern civilization: sustained deep autophagy. Your ancestors might have reached this during long hunts or harsh winters, but today it requires intentional fasting. Physically, you might feel strange. Hunger often fades entirely, replaced by an odd clarity. Some people report feeling energized, almost euphoric, as if their bodies have unlocked a hidden gear. Others feel weak, lightheaded, aware that they're pushing into unfamiliar territory. Both responses are real. Both are your body adapting to a state it recognizes, but rarely visits. But autophagy has a shadow side. Push too far, fast too long, and the body begins consuming not just damaged proteins, but healthy muscle tissue. The cleanup crew can become overzealous, dismantling structures you still need. Balance is everything. The question isn't just how long it takes. It's whether you should push this far. Two people can fast for the same 16 hours. One enters deep autophagy. The other barely scratches the surface. Why? The answer lies in metabolic flexibility, the body's ability to switch between fuel sources. Someone who's insulin sensitive, whose cells respond quickly to hormonal signals, will trigger autophagy faster than someone who's insulin resistant. Years of high-sugar diets, constant snacking, and metabolic stress create bodies that cling to glucose, reluctant to shift into fat-burning and recycling mode. Their insulin stays elevated longer. Their mTOR takes more time to quiet down, and autophagy waits at the door, unable to enter. Exercise changes everything. Physical stress, especially intense or endurance training, accelerates autophagy even without fasting. When muscles are damaged during workouts, they need to clear debris and rebuild. This triggers localized autophagy in muscle tissue, sometimes within just a few hours after exercise. Combine fasting with movement, and you're sending double signals to your cells: adapt, repair, optimize. The body responds more aggressively, ramping up autophagy faster than fasting alone would achieve. Age matters too. As you grow older, autophagy efficiency naturally declines. The genes that control this process become less responsive. The machinery moves slower, and cells accumulate more damage over time. A 20-year-old might trigger meaningful autophagy at hour 14. A 60-year-old might need 18 or 20 hours to reach the same depth. This decline is one reason aging is associated with more disease. Without regular cellular cleanup, damage compounds, inflammation rises, and systems break down. Your diet history creates patterns the body remembers. Someone who's been following a ketogenic diet, already adapted to burning fat for fuel, will slip into autophagy much faster than someone coming from a high carbohydrate lifestyle. Keto-adapted bodies are metabolically primed, their cells already comfortable operating without constant glucose. The transition feels seamless, but for someone whose body expects sugar every few hours, the shift is jarring, delayed, sometimes taking days to fully establish. Even genetics play a role. Some people carry variations in genes that make their AMPK sensors more sensitive, triggering autophagy earlier and more robustly. Others have naturally sluggish autophagy responses, requiring longer fasts to achieve the same cellular cleanup. Sleep quality and stress levels also interfere. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which can delay autophagy by keeping the body in a heightened alert state. Poor sleep disrupts the hormonal rhythms that support cellular repair. There's no universal timer because there's no universal body. If you've struggled with intermittent fasting, wondering why it feels harder for you than others describe, this is why. Your biology has its own story, its own timeline. But regardless of when it starts, one truth remains. Autophagy isn't a hack. It's not a trend. It's a language your cells have spoken for millions of years. Long before scientists gave it a name, before fasting became a wellness movement, this process was quietly keeping humans alive through droughts, famines, and endless stretches without abundance. Your body remembers that rhythm. It's encoded in every cell, waiting for the conditions that allow it to begin. So when someone asks how long it takes to trigger autophagy, the honest answer is this. For most people, meaningful autophagy begins somewhere between 16 and 18 hours of fasting. That's when the molecular switches flip, when mTOR quiets and AMPK activates, when cells start their cleanup in earnest. But autophagy exists on a spectrum. Light autophagy, the kind that starts around 12 to 16 hours, offers gentle cellular maintenance, basic housekeeping that clears minor damage. Deep autophagy, the kind reached after 24 hours or more, performs major renovations, dismantling severely damaged structures and recycling them completely. Both are valuable. Both serve the body. You don't need to fast for days to gain the benefits. Regular 16 to 18 hour windows, practiced consistently, allow your cells to perform the maintenance they've been denied by modern eating patterns. Our ancestors didn't optimize autophagy. They triggered it naturally through the unpredictability of food. Sometimes they feasted, sometimes they fasted. Their bodies learned to thrive in both states, building when resources appeared, repairing when resources disappeared. Modern life has removed that natural rhythm, replacing it with constant availability. But you can choose to restore it, not through deprivation, but through awareness. By giving your body regular periods of rest from digestion, you're allowing it to remember what it was designed to do. The warning is equally important. Obsessing over autophagy can become its own trap. Fasting longer doesn't always mean better results. Pushing past your body's limits, ignoring hunger signals, chasing deeper states without proper nutrition, these can harm rather than heal. Autophagy is a tool, not a goal. The real aim is cellular health, metabolic flexibility, and the kind of balance that lets your body move gracefully between building and breaking down, between storing and recycling. If your cells could speak after 18 hours without food, they wouldn't demand you continue. They'd simply thank you for the pause, for the permission to clean, repair, and prepare for whatever comes next. The question was never really about time. It was about listening. And now, finally, you know what your body has been trying to tell you all along.